Well, back on the program, Jacked Up Radio and Brent here with you. Obviously, people that listen to the program know I'm a huge stand-up fan in general, but I'm an even bigger fan of Christopher Titus, and I'm thrilled to say I've got him on the phone line right now with us. Good to have you on the show, man.
Oh, Brent, thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me whore my show. I cannot believe it. I'm glad. At least I've earned something if you're going to let me, sell the show on that. Because I'm going to be in Chattanooga. I can't believe I'm going to be in Chattanooga.
That's right, and that's what we're going to talk to you about. You're on tour right now, and for listeners in our area, that's going to be at the Walker Community Theater in Chattanooga. It's next Saturday night, November the 7th, and it's the Born with a Defect tour, right?
Yeah, it's a new tour. So my last one was called Angry Pursuit of Happiness, and then I wrote another show about kids. I started to kind of think about, I don't understand how human beings run anything. Every other animal seems to have some ability. You know, I mean, a dolphin swims to the surface for his first breath. It knows instinctively. A deer walks an hour, but a human child has to have two adults around it for 5 years so it doesn't choke on a damn Cheerio. So how did we get the keys to the planet? I mean, every other animal instinctively afraid of fire. Human beings learn about fire by touching fire, Brent. So
yes.
I don't understand how we run stuff. So I started writing this show, and it's all about having kids. And if you have kids, this show will be like therapy for you. I'm kind of like the evil Tony Robbins. And if you don't have kids, this show's like a 90-minute prophylactic.
Well, one of the things I like about your comedy is that, of course, you're always amazing with the laughs, but you have a lot of serious stuff in there as well, and I gather that this is probably going to be no exception as well.
Yeah, this one, there's a couple of bits in this. Every show seems to have one or two pieces of material that have a little bit, that the audience follows me down the road, and then they find themselves in a very, very dark room, and then I always let them out. This one, there's a bit. My daughter, when Ferguson was on TV, my daughter started asking me about racism, and I'm trying to be a good dad, and I just dug a hole. First of all, the color white I am, I should be illegal to ask me about racism. I looked at my kids like, kids, we're almost clear. We can't even talk about this.
Right.
So I went through that bit, and that bit's getting really funny. It's always hard to write a new show, but I got a whole new 90 minutes. If you saw the other show on Comedy Central, I didn't just write two new bits and put it in the old show. I dumped the old show, and this is an entirely new one.
Right, and a lot of comedians, I won't say names, but it seems like they continue the tour with the same material for a long time, and so you're an exception to that rule. You're always bringing brand new material, so people that have seen your stand-up and your specials, they're going to get all brand new stuff throughout the whole program then.
Yeah, what's weird is you can go see Bruce Springsteen and watch him play Thunder Road a million times, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you go to a music concert to see them play the songs you already know.
Sure.
Jokes don't work like that. You can't go, hey, he told that same joke again for the 7th time. And I had a problem years ago. When I lost my TV show, I got really upset about it. And what I've always loved doing since I was 19 was doing stand-up comedy. I wanted to be a comic since I was 5. And I decided that I was going to become the best comic. Now, whether that's true or not, you got to set a goal, right?
Right, of course.
So I found out that George Carlin did 14 comedy specials and 21 albums.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only on my 7th.
Right.
So nobody's even playing that game. And so I decided to, every 18 months, to try to really put out something new for the people.
Right. Well, I'm going to say this, and it's amazing that you mentioned George Carlin. It wasn't 15 minutes ago. We just set up this interview with your publicist, and I was talking to my program director, and I mentioned to him he had never listened to your material, that you were second to George Carlin. Carlin is my favorite of all time.
That's like kind of saying, by the way, you're second to Jesus. I can't even accept that compliment, but thank you. That's really
well. And I just wanted to say, and it's not sucking up at all. That's what I was telling him. It's just, and it's not biased. It's just that's just a fact to me. And so it's certainly always great to listen to your stuff, and I'm excited to hear what's going to be on this new stuff. So hopefully it's going to be on TV or a DVD, or how's that going to be released?
Well, I started my own filming company last year, 2 years ago, and we actually filmed the last two specials and sold them to Comedy Central. So it's always a negotiation. We got to film it first and see what it's going to be. But everything's going with Netflix and things. Everything's going online. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But even in the last special, you talk about George Carlin. All these kids were getting shot at schools, and Aurora had happened, and I wanted to write a bit about it, about the gun thing, and I ended up writing this really sappy guns are bad piece. And I remember reading it, and I was like, oh, this is horrible. I hate this.
Yeah.
And I thought I should wear a bracelet instead of what would Jesus do, what would George Carlin do. So I did. I thought, what would George Carlin do? And George Carlin would have went in the back door and gone totally different with it. So I wrote a bit called Arm the Children, where I basically prove that we can solve all the problems in America. We simply arm all the children. And there was a point at the end of it, but it was interesting to make that bit funny, because I remember doing it in Tennessee one night. I was doing it. I think it was in Nashville. It was in Nashville, I think. And the first time I wrote it, and I was still reading it off paper, and some of the people in the audience were kind of like, "Is he making fun of us?" I believe he's making fun of us.
Yeah, I know guns are a big thing in the South, but just to get your opinion real quick, what do you think of the whole the gun situation in general? Your honest thoughts on it?
We got to do something. I mean, I think even, it's funny because I have a lot of gun owners come to my show, and because of Arm the Children, I have signed so many NRA cards. They used to get, "Hey, dude, sign my NRA card." I've done that a lot. And
yeah.
Even the people that want to keep their guns with no regulations or no, like, even a fingerprint ID, those people, we should worry about those people. Most responsible gun owners are like, yeah, we got to do something because we can't have piles of dead kids anymore. And I think that's, at the end of the day, we all got right and left. You got to come together and go, yeah, we don't want any more piles of dead people.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And I think it's not un-American to go, hey, can we fix this? There's a new, everybody's phone has a fingerprint reader, right?
Yeah.
And they work constantly. So there's a new gun called an IntelliGun that you would actually wrap your hand around. You could put your finger on the fingerprint reader. It would unlock the gun within a 2,000th of a second, and it's your gun. And then if someone took it from you, they couldn't shoot you with it.
Yeah.
Your kid couldn't pick it up and shoot himself.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, remember that dog? There's a dog last week that stepped on some hunter. Hunter put his gun on the ground. Dog stepped on it, shot it, and killed him.
Oh, wow. No, I did not hear about that.
So listen, when dogs are starting to commit murder, maybe it's time to pull the guns back a tad.
Yeah, it may be time to reevaluate the situation. And also,
how do you show up to St. Peter with that one? Why are you here? My dog shot me. What?
Right, absolutely. And randomly, this is just a random question, but what do you think so far of the political candidates for president? What are your thoughts on that?
Isn't this the first year, right and left, when everybody watching it goes, man, I could do this?
Yeah.
Don't we all think we could be president after watching the clown car full of people right now?
That's what seems to be happening. It's just such a circus going on right now. And oddly enough, personally, I'm almost looking more toward the GOP as possible candidates, which is really weird for me. I've been a lifelong liberal, but it's just such a surreal thing with all these candidates. And I just had to get your opinion on who seems to be.
If you've made a decision right or left, you're wrong half the time. So most people, and look, I do stand up all over the country all the time. So I pretty much take a poll every night, and I have to be right, because if I'm not right and they don't laugh, I don't eat.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So whenever I talk about politics, it's interesting to hear that most of the country, we don't care right or left. You know what we care about? Give us a good leader.
Right.
We haven't had a good leader in a really long time.
Yeah.
I think the guy running it right now, I mean, you have to face the facts that things turned around a bit in the last 8 years. But tomorrow it could go crazy again. I wish we just had a good. Trump is amazing. That Trump got up and went. I've never seen a candidate get up and they go, what's your economic policy? Let me tell you my economic policy. My economic policy is we're going to win. I know how to win, and we're going to win. We're going to win so much, you're going to get so tired of winning, you want to lose a little bit before you win again. That's how. And then he goes, next question. You're like, what did he just do? He's like
exactly.
He's like the Jedi mind trick master.
And that's almost what's kind of scary, though, is he's giving these answers, and he's, for a long time he was leading and surging, and now he's falling back a bit. But it was just crazy to see how many people were getting behind this, just this statement with no, water to it. But moving on, you mentioned earlier about your TV show, so I'm going to ask about another TV show.
Okay.
I was a fan of Hardcore Pawn.